blah, 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 blah.
Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. In today's video, we are doing a follow-up on my XM Carbon Speed wheels. So far, I've used these wheels for a few months now throughout the winter, and I just wanted to do a follow-up just to let you know some of my thoughts on them and whether or not I would still recommend them in 2025. Huge shout out to Carbon Speed for sending me out these wheels. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, this video is going to be a little bit of a mashup because the first day I filmed this video, it was like 45 degrees and I was wearing a full winter cycling kit. But on day two, which is today, it's like 78 degrees here in Chicago, crazy winds from the south, low humidity, but it's been a fantastic day and I'm happy to be wearing a summer kit. So what has changed since the first time I featured these wheels? Not much, to be quite frank with you guys. I have used these wheels now on a variety of different frame sets, from my Tarmac SL8, which I love, and then as you see it today, which is my Polygon Helios A8X frame set. So first, let's review some of the specs on these really quickly. So we have 50mm depth in both the rear and the front. We have carbon spokes, we have ceramic bearings, we have a 54 tooth star ratchet design. The internal width on these is about 26mm, and then the external width on these is around 34. So what that means is these set of Continental GP5000 tubeless tires in the 32C variant stretch out at the rim to about 34mm. And then as far as tire pressure goes, because this is a very important one, and I did talk about this a little bit when I did a long-term review on my Polygon Helios, is I have this setup as you see it today for my first road race of the season. It's 100 kilometers long and it's mixed terrain. We're going to have some road as well as some category 1-ish gravel. So for that particular event, I'll be running around 51-ish PSI. I weigh like 74 kilograms. But then for all out road, which is what we have today on a day where it's very warm, it's windy, but fantastically warm, I'm running about 53, 54. And at that tire pressure on the road in this weather conditions, I would argue again, and I mentioned this before, I would argue that 32C feels just as fast as rocking rocking 28C with tires, but you do get the added comfort as well as the wider tire contact. And what better way to do a follow-up on these Carbon Speed wheels than by taking the wheels out on some single track, some light gravel, mud, grime, standing water, because since the rim profiles on the wheels that I have selected, because they're so wide, so that means you have plenty of air, plenty of a wide contact patch to the road for traction, puncture protection. Yet because the rim profile is so wide, that means that these tires will still be aerodynamically optimized for the rim. Looks really good, if I say so myself. Now, the main draw to going with a set of wheels from XM Carbon Speed, there's two main takeaways. So the first one is the price. So these retail for about $850 USD, and because you are going with an OEM supplier directly from Xiamen, China, they have a variety of different rims and specs, and you can essentially spec these out however you want. If you want to go with a deeper depth set of wheels, which I do have a set of 65mm depth wheels in this same variant as far as the hoops goes, which will be a completely separate video. If you want to go with something more shallow, you can do that as well. If you don't want gold decals, you can opt out of those as well. If you want to go with a glossy finish, you can do that too. So all of that for about $850 USD for this top spec wheel. The second draw to these is the weight. So even as of today, these are the lightest set of wheels that I have featured on this channel. These come in at like 1,178 grams, I believe, so well under 1,200 grams, and that's a crazy value when you think about it, especially since these are using a modern, wider set of rims. Fun fact about Chicago: the reason why we're called the Windy City has nothing to do with our winds. In fact, it has to do with our storied history of politicians over the last 100 years. In fact, Chicago is not even in the top 10 of windiest cities in Chicago. But with that being said, today has been very windy. We've been having like 25 mile an hour / 40 kilometer south kind of cross tailwind. So going out south, it's been crazy windy, but then coming back, it's been a nice tailwind, but still very strong winds. So with that being said, these wheels have performed very well. They're very controlled. given the type of headwinds and crosswinds we've been having today. Now, a lot of that control that you have in the crosswinds, it has to do with a lot of different things. It has to do with the design of your frame. It has to do with your positioning on the bike. It has to do with your weight. But even those things keeping in mind, at my weight at 74 kilograms, these wheels are very, very controlled. In fact, I would say that these are some of the most well-controlled set of wheels at 50 millimeters depth in the crosswinds. So good job, Carbon Speed. And again, guys, you're getting a fantastic value in these wheels. Now, the final thing I want to talk about really briefly before we wrap this video up is durability. You figure at a sub 1200 gram wheel, there could be some concerns for durability. And after using these wheels now for about 3 months pretty regularly, I don't have any concerns about durability. Unfortunately, that's just something that you really can't cheat unless you really use these wheels long term, say at least 6 months to a year. Obviously, I don't have access to a machine that can do some sort of rapid wear test, but as of today, and I've so far ridden these on some gravel roads as well around here, I don't have anything to report negative about these with regards to durability. So that's it, guys. $850 USD. You get a set of wheels that come in under 1200 grams at 1178 grams, ceramic bearings, carbon spokes, which, by the way, you can swap out for even wider carbon spokes as well. You get a modern DT Swiss style hub, as well as a modern wide set of rims. So these come in highly recommended. If you are someone that has a very specific need for a set of wheels that a current off-the-shelf brand of wheels does not offer, then for sure this is definitely the way to go. I'm really excited that I've gotten to test these wheels out, and like I mentioned earlier, I just received a set of 65 millimeter depth wheels, both front and rear, in the similar setup as these. So stay tuned for that video, guys. Once again, thank you to XM Carbon Speed for sending out these wheels for me to test and review. Questions, comments, and concerns, please feel free to leave them down below, and I will check you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.